best part is I had a positive talk that I did.
Look at this.
It happens. That's the best part about doing it live.
Welcome to the show. Let's talk with Urvashi. Today we have Benjamin Fulcher. He is successful coach, YouTuber, and podcaster. His podcast is epic, informative, and very impactful. The podcast is Positive Talk, and the YouTube channel he is running is Roman Culture. I had a privilege to talk to Ben about his journey and how he was able to build his successful brand last 4 years. We talk about emotional challenges that individual goes when they are trying to build their individual business or startup or entrepreneurship. So let's explore with Ben on many emotional stages of an individual. This podcast will be in different episodes, 4 episodes, so please do check all of them. I will link all of his handles in my description, so please go and check it out. Welcome, Ben.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much today for coming to this show. Let's talk with Urvashi. And today we have Benjamin with us. And I cannot tell you enough about him. So I think we should hear from him rather than me telling about him, who he is, because he has successfully built his brand, his podcast, and he has gone through his journey, and which is fabulous and phenomenon for those people who is still starting up and having a new business. So Benjamin, what do you want to talk about yourself a little bit before we start?
Yeah, most definitely. So, when it comes to my journey, it's been one of constant rediscovery on who I am as a person. Uh, I can look back at the journey I've been on and where I was at the start and tell you that there have been so many different transformations along the way. The coaching business, the social media platforms that you see today were not what they were. They started off very differently, and I learned that I just had to feel my way through it and connect with myself along that journey and continue to stay as vulnerable and authentic on that journey as I can. Uh, I mean, social media, I think, started off with just me sharing pictures of my cat or things that I originally thought may entertain people, and that blossomed into a space that I could utilize for my beautiful podcast that is called Positive Talks, where I bring guests from all different backgrounds to share their stories and life experiences in hopes that it may inspire someone in the audience that is listening. And I did not believe it would grow into what it did. Its intention when I started it was just to create a space to inspire people during 2020 when we were going through a global pandemic. We were going through an election year here in the United States that was very divisive and dividing of people from all sides. We had very important movements that were going on for social justice. And I was like, what can I create that will add something to the world, that will turn us towards light instead of the darkness that I felt like was really all encompassing? And Positive Talks became that for me. It became this beautiful woven story of beautiful stories from people, and my coaching kind of grew along with that. I started with my coaching business being called Walks to Happiness. Um, it was the first name that came to mind when I thought of like what I wanted to do with people. Um, and it slowly morphed into something different because I had feedback from people and I was just like, I'm not aligning with what people are getting from this business name. So the logo slowly started to change. The name eventually became my middle name, and culture, which rhymed with Fulcher, which is my last name. Uh, I was a content creator online and I went to a lot of seminars where they're like, you need to create community. And I was like, well, the word culture ties into community. It rhymes with my last name. It slowly became what it was, to where drumming culture is my coaching business. And now going through the Jay Shetty program, understanding my purpose and journey I've been on can serve my fellow coaches to help them start and launch their own businesses that align with their journey. It's just been a roller coaster ride of me finding my true voice and identity and way to serve in this world. And yeah, that's kind of short little story of how I got here today.
That's very phenomenal, Ben, because I just heard that you started in 2020 when it was COVID, and it's today like 2024, and you just grew like unbelievable. Like how did that happen? Like do you have any idea? Like where was the spike?
I think the biggest part was when I realigned with myself. Um,
Mhm.
I think too often when we create something in the world that we want to give to others, we fall into that cycle of looking for approval from other people. And we're like trying to create for other people. And when I turned inward and was like, what did little Ben need to
Hmm.
hear?
Oh.
What did I need the world to have more of? And I started creating that, and
Mhm.
people aligned with it. And I think anytime when we share authenticity and the pain points and things we've gone through that made us who we are, people connect with that story. Um, I did notice there was a little bit of a shift when I started to experience a lot of success on social media as well as a coach, that I was now viewed as someone that had success. And people don't always align well with someone who has success. And I spoke a little bit about this in our Launchpad community, but I had to realize that people who truly support me, people who truly love me, will not see my success as a threat or something for them to compare themselves to and feel bad about, but they would want to celebrate that with me and be inspired by what I was doing. So there was like a climb up the ladder to success, and then kind of like a fallout of a lot of people that weren't meant to be a part of my journey from there on out. And then I slowly attracted the new people in my life that knew how to celebrate other success and not be jealous or envious of it. And I think I'm at that cycle now in my life where I'm starting to attract again a new fan base, a new audience, a new client base of people who see the hard work that I've been through and want to kind of be informed or learn from me in that. And now I'm just like, okay, I'm going to be authentic again and share that journey and the struggles I've been through to get here. But I do truly believe that being authentic and not trying to hide the pain points or the things you've messed up on from the world really aligns with people, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have life lessons that throw us down off of our feet, and we have to climb back up and make it through another day together. And I try to make sure that the spaces I hold allow people to feel that way, so that they're not judging themselves harshly based upon comparison to me and what I'm doing.
Amazing. Uh, I really want to ask this question at this point when you mentioned that we lose many people on the way of this journey. What would you tell from your experience to all of those people who are at the point that they are trying to start up something new? but not resonating with few people, or they are feeling like losing them. Do you think that we should take care of some our own emotions at that point? Like, what should we let go? What should we keep? Because I think it's lots of huge changes that one would go during that business launching or thinking, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think anytime we pivot and make big life changes, um, it sets off like a ripple effect in our relationships with people because we identify ourselves by the people we keep around us. So when people around us start changing, that also means that we have to do the work of, okay, what does this mean for me? How does my identity change and grow with this person's changes?
Mhm.
And a lot of instances, people don't like that. People like comfort, and not everyone is in a stage where they're ready to grow. And when we have people in our lives that take that step into growth, it does give us that time to compare our stories and see what we're looking at in our own lives and what challenges we're not taking. So I think that it's really important when you are the person deciding to step into growth, deciding to step into that new storyline for yourself, you realize it's going to take time for the people around you to adjust. And some may not adjust quick enough to continue that journey with you.
Hmm.
Inspires them to start making the change.
Hmm.
Okay.
Uh, so my second question, for following with again emotions, when one is starting with new challenges like new business and what they want to take up, sometimes they don't get support in a sense, emotional support from family or the friends. Not that one wants them to physically come and buy the products or services, but just being there for them and telling that, hey, don't worry, like we're with you. But when we don't get that, how should we deal with it?
I think the biggest, because I went through this with my family. My family wanted to help pay for my college, but only if I was a doctor, a lawyer, an architect. Um, Life coach is very different than any of those. And I think when I learned that they have a view of what success is,
Hmm.
and I was stepping away from the journey they thought that I needed to take for success, I realized I wasn't going to get support from them in that journey. Um, I do realize now that I am finding success that their support is starting to come over. So the journey that we take when it comes to trying something that fulfills us and what we need as a person on this earth, that journey may start off very lonely until you start to attract people who do see that type of work as worthwhile, who see the small steps and big steps you take along that journey. And some of the people that were so proud of you and were your support system when you were growing up and starting your journey in whatever realm you were in, those people might not be the ones that support you in this next chapter. They might be the ones that come back in 5 chapters from now, where they're now seeing your success and seeing you thrive because you are now in your calling, you are in your space where everything about you is able to excel because you finally found alignment. But unfortunately, that journey, sometimes it requires removing some people from your life and creating distance between them. You don't have to do anything dramatic and like burn the bridge,
Hmm.
but create space for yourself to grow. And when you do that, you will leave space open for people to come in that can support and hold you through the challenges because growth is always challenging. And those people can support you to the point where people from your past may be able to come back and show that love and support again because You opened up a new perspective for them. You showed them there was another possibility other than being a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect. You showed them that you can be successful in a different realm. And especially for coaches, this is a very nuanced thing. Coaches, that was not a career a few decades back. So we are now in a space where we are creating something that past generations, people that were supporting our goals and things, this was not an avenue for making money or supporting ourselves. So you can't let that fear that they have scare you away from something that feels like true aligned to who you are as a person.
That was amazing. So beautifully explained to understand like why it is important.